Reds from around the world, welcome to All for United and to Wall of Reds. This is a very wonderful and special day. I don't give a shit about beating Spurs. I just care about making Jose Mourinho moan and cry and get closer to being sacked. I despise the human being. And I'm genuine. I'm going to ask this question across the board. Is it the fact, okay, which factor are you most happy about? Because I feel like there's a lot of victories. It's one of those special games where, like, a lot of people kind of got their comeuppance. Okay, the first big one we'll say is Jose beating Jose. Then it's reversing the 6-1 after going 1-0 down. The VAR as well, that's included in there. The 3 goal scores. Fred, his first goal in since God was a boy. Greenwood obviously starting to get a run of form together at a very important time in the season. And Cavani, especially after the first goal, but he's getting a bit of criticism, having a great game, getting man the match, and also with that header. And as well, just beating Jose Mourinho, okay? And bringing Harry Kane slightly closer to us, you know. He wants to play Champions League football. We're going to be playing Champions League football, you know. He wants to play for a good team. We're a team, you know. He's a good, today we're a good team, you know. Stay positive, stay wonderful. And so we'll go across the board. What are you happy about? Stuart, thanks so much for joining us. And guys, get your comments in. We have a lot of people watching. Put a like in this video. Stick with us for as long as you can, because this is going to be one of those special nights where we're just having an absolute laugh for the entirety of it, okay? So Mark, who did a wonderful job today hosting. I don't know was it your first time hosting, Mark, or had you hosted?
Third time, but I hadn't hosted for a while, so I fucked up a couple of occasions. But
let us point that out.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Great job on that today, Mark. Go back and check it out and put a like in that video and get your thoughts in and spread the word that we're doing this, because it's going to be great fun. But Mark, what are you just the victory, beating Spurs? Is it beating Spurs? Is it beating Jose? Is reversing the 6-1? Which one about those victories is kind of, or just the fact that we're putting more of a space between second, third, fourth, and all like that? Which one of those are you most happiest about?
You know what? It's all of them, to be honest. Like, you could not write it. I had many conversations this morning about the fact that we lost 6-1. We needed to turn that around. You know, there's been talks about not being able to beat the bigger 6. Turning that around. Mourinho, Luke and Pogba having wonderful games. So many talking points. And honestly, you literally couldn't write it. I was desperate to win today. I was desperate for us to play well. And you know what? I can't even talk negatively about the first half, because really, they didn't play badly. We just weren't quite quick enough. You know, we were. Here
it is. Here's the catchphrase. Here it is, guys.
Yeah. I won't go into that. I won't go, you bastard. No, the thing is, we weren't quick, but we were playing progressive football. And it's not like we didn't have, we had one chance, I think. We had one goal disallowed. It was great. You know what? We needed that. We needed a resounding win in the end. We needed a 3-1. We needed it against Mourinho. We needed it against Spurs. We're now 7 points above Leicester. Other results went our way. You literally couldn't write the script. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely buzzing. It was really, really great. And you know what? I'm very much looking forward to watching Match of the Day tonight.
Yes. And I didn't point out this properly. I just put it up because I didn't actually read it. But this is terrible from Vin. Let's go. What a Vin. Now, look, I respect anyone who puts a pun on their name. My Instagram name is literally Joe Your Own Way. But, like, I think a better thing is, lads, 21-1, you have to be Vin it to win it. You know, I think that's better than just what a Vin. So if anyone has better thing that they have with the name Vin, put it into the comments and spread the puns. Love a good pun. And also, if there's a pun with your name, put it in the comments as well and I'll put it up. But try and make it Man United related a little bit. So then Ben.
I really like a play on words, and I think he's done brilliantly there. So leave it out, Joe.
No! Kai, was that a Kai Losses victory today, or?
I was about to go there. I
went there first, baby. I went there first. Yeah. Give us your thoughts on what is your favorite thing about the victory today as a whole before we get into the nitty-gritty of the game.
I think my favorite thing is how Ole is basically pretty much debunking all the myths that surround him one game at a time, from no tactics to, oh, there's tactics, but we don't like them. From he's a weak person, from he smiles too much, he's too weak. He basically wakes Mourinho up. Mourinho comes through, and then he basically destroys Mourinho, makes him lose his mind.
Kai,
and then today he's crying.
I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna pause you for 1 second because James has just come in with a question, and I have to put it up. It's answer this. Jose Mourinho is finished as a manager. Great job, James. Great job down there in the bottom corner with a big.
Not just a good haircut. Not just a good haircut.
But as that is a question he's putting forward, is Jose Mourinho finished as a manager? Maybe top level manager.
Well, that's the thing, right? Because he obviously can still coach, right? Or else they wouldn't be still near the top four and all of that. So he is still a good manager. But I think the standards, he moved to Tottenham to not win the Premier League and to not win the Champions League. That's the only reason why he moved to Tottenham, to be comfortable, right? So I think maybe he is finished at the top level, but he can still just be there, somewhere around there, and just do his thing. But I think for people to expect the old Mourinho, you can see that it's just not working. So, I mean, I'm not a manager, so I can't really call someone finished because he's still doing something. I don't like him now anymore, but I'm so glad every time he loses. It's the best victory in the whole wide world. Seeing him cry is just so amazing.
Yes.
But yeah,
but
so
Brown Knight,
for me, that's my favorite.
Brown Knight disagrees with you though. Disagrees.
Why?
Nah, he's AO Kai.
Yes. Keep going. But yeah, that's my thing. Yeah.
That's fair. Loses the League Cup. He's gone, in my opinion. I think they should sack him before the League Cup and they might get the new manager bounce, if I'm being honest. But Ben, we'll go to you now, my man. What is your favourite thing as a whole from that victory?
Just at the end, mate, and I think everyone's seen the picture doing the rounds on social media of Ollie going up to Luke Shaw with the biggest grin on his face and Jose Mourinho with a face like fucking thunder. That just epitomised it for me, mate. That just summed up the whole fucking day, I think Jose's lost his mojo as a manager. I really do. I think he's still probably a decent coach, but as a top level manager, man, I think he's done. He just blames it. Him and Klopp seem to have this fucking thing when they blame everyone else but themselves. I think they always scrape to the bottom of the barrel looking for excuses. But it's just so nice just to fucking see him get absolutely riled by Ollie. In his press conference after the game, just shows that Ollie's got to him, got underneath his skin a little bit, and I like to see that. He might have laughed at when they smashed the 6-1, mate, but those who laugh last laugh the loudest, and Ollie's had the last laugh, and he's laughing the loudest, mate. I'm fucking buzzing over it, pal. Mate, I've still got sweaty palms now. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I'm just fucking buzzing.
That's an Eminem song, I think. Guys. Keep your comments coming in. Keep the love coming in, and also if you have any puns to work with your name, keep them coming in. And we have a newbie who's about to join us in the center square right now. Who did we lose? James left. James is upset because we have a newbie in. Gary, everyone show love to Gary, please. And if you want to try and make a pun out of his name, but I think that would be Gary Hard. No, that wasn't a good one. Sorry about that.
It's past your bedtime, sunshine.
Oh, it's well past my bedtime. But Gary, thank you so much for joining us. Give him the love in the comments, guys, and tell us what are you most happy about from the victory today.
Well, thanks for having me, fellas. Actually, it was everything. I mean, the game itself had its own ebb and flow. We scored first, then honestly, Eddie should have gotten a brace for the game. The way VAR is being used, but I'll leave that for a separate conversation. I'm just happy at all levels. As far as Jose is concerned, I pretty much think he's finished as a top flight manager. a few years ago, those kinds of comments that Ollie made would not have gotten to him. It's a lot like now that he's grasping at straws and trying to look for excuses, even blaming Pogba for a red card on the foul on Aurier. But overall, that second half performance was probably the best adjustment we've ever had all season. I could argue that it's probably the best half of football that we've played so far this season in terms of the adjustments that Ollie has made. And to echo what Kai said, spot on with the adjustments that Ollie made and the coaching staff. And I'm just happy for the lads. I'm happy for everybody, for all of us. Because we're finally starting to see the fruits. And Ollie's at the wheel. Long may it continue.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's welcome back the wonderful James, who's made he had his dramatic exit, and now he's come crawling back. It's all water under the bridge. Oh, that's actually very good too. Jesus, Brown Knight, you're on a roll here. Stuart, you give us some. You haven't given us any puns yet, and John as well. There has to be something you can do with Kermode, or at least with John. But Jeff,
mate.
What's that?
That's stupendous, mate.
He's not next, but that's very good. That's very good. But you should have saved that. Jeff is next. I hope for the first time that's ever you arrived early, Kai. Jeff, my man.
Yes, sir.
What are your thoughts? What are you most happy about with that victory?
Well, initially coming into the game, I just wish that we didn't drop points because we had that tendency to do so. Like everyone losing and then we just lose too. So I'm glad we got that on the way. But then again, actually got into the game. I just wanted, justice, not for the 6-1, but more on that stupid VAR decision. So glad that got sorted out by itself. And, I love a Jose Mourinho meltdown. I mean, I didn't love it when we had him. It was entertaining, but we were losing. But then again, if you see it from afar, from as a manager of another team, that's such entertaining press cons that he gives. And, I think Kai has a point that, he's finished as a top level manager, but he's still an okay manager. He's more of a Tottenham level, mid-table level team manager now. So, but of course, his pride wouldn't really accept that. That's why he's still getting pissed. So yeah, glad that we got redemption, not just for the 6-1, but also for that stupid decision. And hopefully, for the last run of games, Cavani Greenwood clicks like that. A lot. So yeah,
I think I know what Stuart's laughing at there.
I saw it too.
The Jeffrey was awful today. Stuart, that is fantastic.
It is.
I won't lie. I was sitting here for ages going, what can I do with Jeff? What can I do? I was Jeff.
I was going to say, what was I going to say? Jeff Tacular. Mrs. had to remind me. Sorry. Jeff Tacular. I forgot. It's been a long fucking day.
So is that Tacular or Dracula? I mean, come on, poor lad.
Jeff Tacular, but yeah, fucked it. But that was brilliant.
Okay, now we're coming to you next, so no stupid comments, all right?
Yeah, all right.
There we go. Yeah. See that one smooth maneuver in there.
Nice.
So Stu, what are you most happy about with today's victory?
Well, we've got old Guardiola on the ropes, haven't we? He'll be biting his fingernails.
But he won't be losing his hair.
Yeah, well, yeah. Over in the all side of blue side of Manchester, he'll be wondering what's going on. Actually, I thought it was certainly in the second half very professional performance. I thought we stood up to their press. Certainly in the first 20-25 minutes, they dictated our play, dictated the play of the game. I did mention this actually in the post-show with Mark. But I think overall, we were well worth the win. We should have had 4 goals on the board.
Be woolly serious now.
Yeah, we should have had 4 goals on the board if it wasn't for that ridiculous decision. So yeah, all in all, still buzzing. Absolutely brilliant day. And it kind of, it really brings everything that football is about and what we love what we get excited about, the ups and downs of footy, and so it was absolutely a great day. And as for Mourinho crying, well, that's just priceless, isn't it? Everyone loves to see Guardiola crying, Klopp crying, Mourinho crying. It's absolutely brilliant. I mean, the thing about it is Ollie's a bit of a strange one. It was one hell of a strange analogy. I couldn't quite get that at all. His analogy. I wouldn't feed my son if he did. Which I thought was strange. But just to get Mourinho literally bawling like a little girl, priceless.
Yes,
Priceless.
absolutely. And Andrew, no, erect that. And what Drew?
No, that doesn't work, does it?
No. Give me a second. So what drew you to the game today? I lost James. That pun broke him.
Oh no! Check Andrew's face. Look at it. Is that all you can come up with?
I'm doing my best here. Okay. If anyone's got a better pun, please bring it in.
He's not impressed.
But we can't use wall. Oh, don't be a Wally. I don't know. I'll try to think of one. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, Andrew Wall. Sorry, Andrew. What are you most happy about with today's game?
To echo Mark points, I think everything about it was a big win for us at Spurs. It was not the fact of just come from behind the 3 points or even 3 goals and the VAR injustice, but it was the spirit of the team and the development of the team. I mean, we're 23 away games unbeaten in the league, and that is so much achievement. Ollie has progressed this team. I mean, it was nice to see at the end that picture of Ollie and Shaw and then Mourinho. Ollie and Shaw laughing. I was like, yeah, we've shown Mourinho the bit. Ollie's shown he can get the best out of the players where Mourinho couldn't. So it's just, I think if Mourinho doesn't win the Europa League, the League Cup, or get Champions League spot, then he'll be gone at the end of the season, I think. And then I don't think we'd ever see him manage well in the Premier League ever again. So, yeah. But I just think for all those Ollie outers that like to have a moan at, even when we've won, and try and discredit him as a manager, I mean, it's one up on them. I just think Ollie has just shown today that he can do it in the big games. Okay, off home form at the points this season has been inconsistent, but when we get that consistency along with our away form, then this team is just going to fly even more higher. I mean, to think back to the start of the season, and when we had that 6-1 loss to Spurs games, we'd be second. And I mean, we're say 9 points above Chelsea, 14, I think, above Spurs. So it's been a good day, and I think we win the next 2 league games against Burnley and Leeds. I think that's Champions League qualification all done and dusted, and then we can try and then focus on the Europa League and get that trophy at the end of it.
Get that trophy. And that's it. Okay, this is it. No more fun and James. What is your thoughts on this victory today? What are you most happy with?
Oh, not that pun. I'll put it that way. That was horrendous.
That's the thing I'm most proud of, being honest.
Oh God, that's quite sad, really. But I was happy with it.
Can I just say very quickly, it's really Andy to have him on today. Do not be silent, please. It took me ages. It was really Andy to have you on today.
We went by him, Mark. You had an ample opportunity. You're controlling this screen as well. You could have pulled him out at any time and then used that. Comedy is 99%
Mark
timing.
Sorry, James.
Oh, that's better than winning. Sorry. Anyway, take it away.
What was the question?
I'm so sorry.
Oh, what was something? I was from our performance from sort of the halfway mark today was good. I thought that I'm really annoyed no one caught onto that, but I thought like from half time onwards we were really good. First half was worrying, but second half the fight and the players to more importantly to keep their heads, because you could see everyone was losing their heads out there towards the end of the half, and understandably so. The referee was having a mare, but the spirit that they showed, the Fred to actually score a goal, Fred to have a shot on target was mesmerising. I couldn't believe my eyes. He still tried to miss from 3 yards out, but the goal was too close to him, so he couldn't quite get it over.
Like, genuinely, it was so close to going over the bar from 2 yards out.
Exactly. But yeah, Cavani, to say he don't want to be here, he looks pretty happy, doesn't he? So it's good to see him get a goal. And then, Mason carrying on his really good run of form, which is always good. It's good that he's finally getting some confidence, and hopefully he can play this way from the start of next season rather than just 30 games in. So, there's nothing to complain about, really. It's very happy to see Son very upset at the end of the game as well. That was nice. And obviously, Mourinho's just been slowly but surely, this is just another little notch in the coffin towards his career, isn't it? I think, really.
Yeah, and you love to see it. For me, that is my favorite thing about it. It is the fact. I feel it is. Go for it.
I got one thing for you guys. Listen to this. The team sitting fifth is Chelsea with a tactician. Sixth is Liverpool with their tactician. Seventh is Tottenham with their tactician. Everton is eighth with their tactician. Leeds is ninth with their tactician. And Arsenal, with their brilliant master tactician, are 11th. Tactics Association in the mud. Just saying.
Yes, just saying. Pure facts. The PE teacher has us fighting for glory, and that's all that matters. Look, I think the fact is that we have improved. We're, I think, 3 points off where we finished last season. I think we're on 61. No, we finished on 66. I think we're on 63 now, or 61 now, or whatever it is. And I think they said that even the points we have now would have gotten us top 4 last season. So for the fact that we are improving, and I don't care what anyone says, Liverpool are after dropping off, Chelsea sacked their manager, all these sort of things. Like, we have shown consistency. And when we did kind of falter and drop points was when we were missing our, Pogba, who was absolutely incredible today. So there's a lot of reasons why we should be showing faith in Ollie. Like, okay, we can go back to mistakes he's made. Like, the probably most glaring one was not taking off Fred against PSG. That would be the one that haunts him. But, like, the majority of stuff he's done this season has worked out, and what he's been let down in is not having the squad that he was promised from coming forward last season. And I put my hand on my heart and probably did a video on it. I did not think he would last this season because I thought the club wanted him out. And that's why I didn't back him, if I'm being completely honest. But, sorry, there it is. Thanks, Shiv. We're on 63. We finished on 66 last season. This season can be finished max 84. So if we finish on 84 points, like that'd be a huge season. That'd be one that, if we were to come second, which, look, let's be honest, probably will be one of the best second place finishes. It'll be the top 3 or 4. So, like, that is improvement. And that's just a fact, So, like, nothing can be done now other than the club saying we have to get a holding midfielder, and we have to get, whether it's Sancho or whether it's a striker, hopefully both, we have to actually invest in this club so we can go on and win things next season. Because with this squad we have now, even with one of those players that being proved upon, we're not gonna do anything. We'll probably get slightly further in the Champions League. We might close the gap on City because they're going to invest, and they can talk shit all they want about saying, "Oh, we have no money." They have money. They will always have money. They're going to spend huge in the summer, as they always will. So we can't try to catch up on our rivals by going slower than them. And that's a fact. But we'll keep talking about this game and about how excited we all are. But Mark, for you, who was your man of the match today?
Several players were excellent today. And as I said, first half wasn't great, but they did seem to sort of progress the ball. But I'm going to name a few, to be honest with you. I think Cavani would be my man of the match. He's had a lot of criticism recently. There's been a lot of talk about him leaving, but he was terrific, really hungry, probably wanted to prove a point. A goal disallowed, which should never have happened. His movement, phenomenal. And that diving header was wonderful, and that's what you expect. Only because of that, only because of his criticism recently and how well he played today. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. Even in the first half, he looked our most dangerous player. Pogba, brilliant. He was. That second half. And again, like, people want to talk about Ollie and tactics and stuff. And yes, he gets it wrong, but we have to I do love I do love bigging the big players up. No. Honestly, every single one of them, I thought, Lindelof made a poor error. He had a bad footing, and it was unfortunate. But then Rashford didn't track back either. So that was news to me when Abdul sort of mentioned that earlier. Maguire was excellent. I thought. I think he's been given so much criticism, and time again, you just see how much he's improved our defence. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, I don't know what was said to him at half time, but he played about 15 yards further forward and looked excellent. And people want to criticise him about him going forward, but he's not that bad. Fred, he's had a lot of criticism as well, and he obviously gave him a bit of a lease of life after his goal. And fair play to him. I hope that does the world of confidence. But yeah, I mean, a load of them were brilliant in that second half, and it was very professional. One of the best second halves I've seen for a while at least. And I thought we were excellent. But yeah, you could give it to any one of those players. Henderson, commanding, mopped up a couple of mistakes which David De Gea doesn't do. And this is what we were saying weeks ago. He gives and instills a little bit more solidarity there at the back and gives them a little bit more calmness and clears up if there is a mistake, because they're not quick, Harry and Lindelof. So balls will get past them. And he has cleared up today, and he did that on the new. Because you could honestly, I couldn't disagree with anybody if they picked any of those players today.
Fantastic. I'm actually decided I'm going to change the question because Mark kind of covered all the points there.
Sorry,
which is fine by me. And you covered it all in your show as well. Anyway, so I'm going to change it to how far are we off actually contesting for the title? Okay, I'll finish with you on this one, Mark. I'll go around. I'll start with Kai. How far are we off? We'll say I think our best 11 was out today and will be, if we were to sign no one, would be our starting 11 going into next season. One would say maybe Cavani is out, maybe he can fit back. Well, we have Van de Beek as well. We're still waiting to see stuff from. So there's still options there. But how far would you say, Kai, we're off competing?
Well, the thing is, I would say we're pretty far still, and the reason I say that is because we don't just need a starting defensive midfielder and a starting right winger. We also need a whole squad of players as well, right? So someone who actually, replaces Matic, because if we get a new defensive midfielder, then either Fred or Scott are going to sit. So at the same time, what Bayern and what City are able to do, they're just able to actually refresh, but without too much drop off in what they're asking their players to do. But when we rotate, we ask our players to do things that they actually aren't good at, and then we get mad at them for that. But we just don't have the right mix, right? So even if we have people that we think are good squad players, we always have to remember that when they play, they must be able to do things that are asked of them, that the Pogbas and them can do. Not to that extent, but they must still be able to be, proficient in certain skills. So I think we're still a little bit far from to say, competing maybe on a regular basis, but maybe next season we'll make another attempt at it if we get those few starting positions, and then we'll become a little bit what do you call it? What I really want from this team is to have that thing which says we're just going to show up and slap you. We're just going to show up and beat you. Kind of what Liverpool had the last 2 years, where you just knew that you didn't even watch the game. You didn't even have to look at the score. They were going to win the game. And I think United isn't there yet. We're still getting nervous about games, about certain type of game. So I just think we need to, those two positions first. And then from then on, make the squad a little bit better. So maybe two years-ish, and then I think we can then really challenge for big titles. I'm not talking about the small cups, but like the Premier League, Champions League.
Okay. I don't want to hear sense. I want to hear we're winning it next season, if not this season. So I'm going to go to Ben for that. But thank you for being sensible, Kai. Okay, but that won't get in our crazy viewers. All right. So Ben, we're going to go to you now. Go as crazy as you want, saying we'll win the title tomorrow if you want. I don't mind.
21's coming this year, isn't it?
There we go. That's what we want.
Yes, no, mate. Truthful, mate. I think we're still 4 or 5 players away. I agree. It's difficult because we're in this pandemic fucking times, isn't it? had it not been pandemic times, mate, I think we'd have got our 4 or 5 in that we needed. But as long as we keep chipping away, we keep getting closer and closer to Man City, and showing progression. There's no reason why we couldn't go on a title charge even next season. Teams are unbeatable. Teams don't go through seasons undefeated. Or you know what I mean? Teams are there to be beaten. Teams are there to be got at. And City have had a bit of a freak. At the start of the season, City were fucking struggling, weren't they? They've had a bit of a freak time of it, and then they've come back. They've done absolutely superbly. Fair play to Stockport, fucking massive. But, Leeds United proved yesterday that they can be beaten. I just think we're just a couple of decent additions away to really properly challenging for the league title. And I think we're 4 or 5 away from going on a decent European run in the Champions League. But, mate, I think in the next season or two, we've got to be thereabouts, mate. For Ollie's sake, we've got to be thereabouts. I just hope the fucking board back the guy, because this guy's taking us places, and I don't care what the most urgent Ollie out person says. This guy is fucking taking us places. And he's taken us places that Jose couldn't even dream of taking us. He's taken us places that Louis van Gaal couldn't dream of taking us, mate. We are on the right path. We just need to back the fucking guy. As best we can fucking back him, back the fucking guy. They back this fucking crazy Yank bastards at fucking American chuckball with fucking Brady and all that. Back Ollie and let Ollie fucking bring 21 home, baby.
But that's it. And I think it's also, I've said this a few times before, that if they don't back Ollie, it's very hard to get a manager in that will, like a young manager who's looking to go places, because they'll go, well, they're not going to give me money if I don't immediately win the league. And even if I do, they won't give me money in my second season. So what's the point of me going? So they just have to. But Gary, going to you now. We're definitely win the league, aren't we?
Well, once upon a time, we had an 8-point lead and City closed us out.
Boo! We don't talk about that.
But, stranger things have happened. I'm not saying if it does happen, then, it's a nice twist of fate. But I'm going to go back to the FA Cup defeat to Leicester City. And they pretty much exposed us for having a lack of a defensive midfielder. We need one, as Kai mentioned. In fact, and a lot of the United supporters also feel that we do need a a defensive midfielder that's going to hold that spine and combine with the 2 center backs, and a right winger. It's understandable if we probably do not get a striker, with the demands going around, with all the news going around, and some Italian dude hawking his player playing for a German club. But for me, we can make. I don't see any reason why we could not make a title charge next season. It's all about backing Ollie. I love Ollie. And to just on a side note, that the fact that people that they like to throw this narrative that he got the managerial post because he won it for us in '99 is absolute bollocks, if you ask me. He's taken this club to levels that even his previous predecessors, and I want to point out a parallel. It may not be as bad as it was back then, but it took the boss 4 years to win his first trophy for United. That was the 1990 FA Cup. So Ollie is right on schedule. I'm not comparing. Don't get me wrong. I'm not comparing Ollie, and I'm not comparing the boss. He'll always be number one. But to see where he's taken this club from where we were in 2014 all the way up to when he took over, I would say that's more than enough progress. And I'm also going to throw another stat out there. Ollie's actually won more games as manager of United than the boss in his first 100. Ooh. So again, there's progress. There's progress. I mean,
yeah. Gary, thanks for really great insights, and thanks for bringing up Bruce Springsteen so often. He's someone who doesn't get enough shout outs on this channel, so I'm glad he's finally getting the love he deserves. So thanks for that. An interesting comparison. Jeff, coming to you now, my man. With people dropping points, City as well, is there any hope, do you think, that we can catch up on them? We are asking a lot. I have a chart here. Hold on. Ben just tweeted it. No, I can't find it. Oh, no, it's in my photo album. 1 second. Everyone just vamp for a second. There we go. So if City drop points against Villa, just draw, lose to Chelsea, draw against Brighton, which is a big one, and draw against Everton, and we win all our games, then we win the league. That's easy, isn't it?
So easy.
Yeah.
Like 21 at 21 is too good not to work out, right? It's like, it's right there. But, that's why I'm so frustrated with all the draws that we got. I mean, for some draws that we had this season were improvements because at least we didn't lose. We didn't have the losing attitude anymore. But, those are drop points. And if we had won some of those, then this shouldn't even be a conversation. Like, it's supposed to be City catching us this year at least. But anyway, that's why hope is a cruel thing, I'm still kind of hoping, but we're still a ways to go, and I think it's too much to ask if we get to have that buying behavior of City, wherein they buy their squad A and their squad B. Yeah. With United, we just don't do that. I mean, we buy some of squad A, and then we just most of our players of the the good academy products do go through the first team, at least a squad player, right? Yeah. So at the very least, we get a right winger, of course. And an interesting discussion we had with Gary and I's group back here in Manila. Somebody actually suggested if we move up Lindelof into that midfielder position, then we just have to buy a right wing and a left-footed center back, and that will save the Glazers money. So that's something that maybe we can consider. I don't know, but I think Stu would like those weird formations.
Yeah.
So that's something to consider, and I hope they do something about the right winger and hold the midfielder at least for this transfer window.
Okay, Stu, like he just said, you're a big fan of weird formations. Are you a fan of putting Lindelof in midfield? And while you're trying to wrap your head around that one, how far are we off winning the league?
Yeah, as much as I respect Jeff's opinion, which he knows I do, no, not a chance. He can play right back, Lindelof, but he's certainly not a holding midfielder. The thing about football teams there's a revolving door of players that go out and players that come in, and it's how you manage that personnel change that's imperative to the success of any football team. And in life, particularly in business, there's buzzwords that people use, and it kind of makes them look intelligent, or they're designed, these words are, to make them look intelligent. And actually football has buzz players, because when you look at what we do need, and we do need a centre back, and we do need a holding midfielder, we do need a player who plays out wide on the right, and we do need a centre forward, you'll always go for these, what I call buzz players, your Haalands and your Sanchos and things of that nature. And many moons ago, 2016, Leicester won a league convincingly with a hard-working team of good, solid professionals, no real buzz players in there. And so I would, although we do, everyone would like a Haaland or a Kane or something like that, but people seem to forget that the Frankfurt lad in Germany has scored one more. The Portuguese lad Silva scored one more than Haaland. Completely under the radar. Nobody talks about him. Concalves in Sporting Lisbon. Wonderful right winger. Can actually play also centre midfield. He's taken over Bruno's role. And nobody talks about these players. And they would be considerably less money than your buzz players of Sancho and Haaland. And that's the thing about a squad. It's how you shape the squad and how you mould the squad. And there's been teams in the past that have been victims, and Manchester United has been one of those, of these Galactico players without actually looking around and using your scouting network properly and getting some really good, solid pros to mix with the star sprinkled, if that's what you want to call them, of these Galacticos. So that's the only problem with shaping a squad. It's very, very difficult to do. So I do think that we are probably 2, maybe even 3 years away from consistently challenging.
Yeah.
And that's the key to it, is that the word is consistent. And I just think that Ollie, and people can talk about Ollie out and Ollie in as much as they like. And I said this to Mark on the show earlier. The fans that are banging on about Ollie shouldn't be in charge of Manchester United do not offer an alternative, because if they do, well, they'll come up with his I don't know, someone like Nigelsmann or someone, you know, a buzz manager, so to speak.
Yeah.
And to me, it's just short-sighted. And so you've got to give a club just an opportunity, and you've got to give Ollie an opportunity to maybe have a 5-year project, because he will consistently get us in the top 4. We know that, because we're going to finish 2 years on the bounce in the top 4. So you've just got to, almost like an elastic band, you've got to stretch it and stretch it and stretch it until you reach snapping point. And I think we're 2 or 3 years away from that.
Stu, can I ask you something which was on my mind, and anyone can answer this as well, but I'm coming to you first, as you're kind of the most English fan I know. Is it very surprising to you, and this is a real question, it's very surprising to you that Gareth Southgate doesn't start with Henderson, Wan-Bissaka, Maguire and Shaw, considering they're playing week in, week out, and not make the same mistake Graham Taylor made and not start C. Bruce alongside of Gary Pallister?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a couple of reasons for that. First and foremost, Trent Alexander-Arnold
is shit.
Well, two years ago, I think, 18 months ago, he was probably the best right back in the country when you look at what he was bringing to Liverpool. But you've got players like that believe their own press. And he did. He started believing his own press, and look where he is now. Whereas a player like Aaron Wan-Bissaka, he's not what we would class as a world beater, but he's the best fucking fullback, one-on-one tackling, I would say, globally right now. I'm talking one-on-one, and that's what a right back is there to do. And Luke Shaw, Ben Chilwell is an absolute poser. An absolute poser. He shouldn't be anywhere near. He shouldn't be anywhere near the squad at left back. Luke Shaw should be a shoe-in. Wan-Bissaka, for me, should be a shoe-in. Wan-Bissaka won't go to the Euros. I'm pretty sure we're all in agreement on that, but he should be. And Henderson, for me, I think he should be number 1. You can't tell me that Pickford or Pope or Johnson are better currently right now than Henderson. It isn't. So I think Southgate's got some troubling times in terms of squad picking. You have to bear in mind, and I will shut up now, but you have to bear in mind that back in our golden era, you had a raft of players that knew they were going to be in the England squad come what may. Then they've massed 80, 90, 100 caps. You should never, ever, ever get complacent playing for your country. And unfortunately, we've got too many players in our current squad that are complacent. So for me, Southgate's got to shake it up. Apologies, I'll shut up now.
No, that's actually fair, and you're getting lots of love in the comments and everything. I see James has replaced Andrew. Damn. And if any of you want to answer that question as well, it's kind of open broad, but I just wanted to make sure I said to Stuart first. But coming to you, you can answer that if you want, James, as well. But along with that, how far are we off winning the title?
I don't really know. I'm going to follow that up with any sort of credibility, but I think keeping Pogba would be a big thing. I think he was, while he can be frustrating, he was monstrous today, wasn't he? He from left wing, he ran the game, and that's not something that players do very often. So keep him, and then I think a big thing will be stability with this lineup. We're constantly seeing chopping and changing with this lineup, and usually it's not injury related. It's just we don't really know our best 11. So I think, like, you look at when we played Brighton, and they were playing the ball about really well, and they had this real sort of not telepathic, of course, but they had this real understanding of where people were going to be, and that's frustrating with United a lot of the time, that some easy passes don't quite work. No one's quite on the same wavelength up front. There's a lot of passes that just go out for a goal kick, and I think if you add some stability to that lineup, you figure out your best 11 and you play it as often as you can. I think that will go a long way to building this consistency with our results as well. And we might see a bit more free flowing football as well. Like after the post lockdown games where we were scoring for fun, we were playing the same 11 every single game, weren't we? So I think that could be a big part of improving. But beyond that, it all depends on how much the Glazers are willing to part with. Because if we've got a 70 million budget, like it's been reported, we're going to have to find at least a defensive midfielder and a right winger for under 70 million. I think if that's the case, I think Rafinha should probably be the one we go to for a right winger, just because it's looking like we can't afford Sancho, even though we can. They just don't want to spend the money. But sensible recruitment, not just splashing money on big names that were once good, and having some stability with this lineup. And I think we're not going to challenge for the league next year, given that I think Chelsea are coming into their own and Liverpool will come back and City are just relentless. But we will see constant progression, which will eventually lead to us charging for the title if we just put those things into practice.
Yeah, I think unfortunately, the way Lingard is playing now like that, he can be used as a makeshift player to maybe bring in someone from Leicester, bring in someone from anyone else, because a lot of people are after him. But yeah, he can be used for anyone else outside of West Ham. But Andrew, for yourself, how far are we off winning the title? You're muted, or else you're having a dramatic pause. And he hasn't realised yet. There we go. Great job.
As I say, we're not too far away in terms of progression. I mean, I think we need to get probably about 3 players in the summer, specifically the centre-back, right winger, and a forward. I mean, I'd say probably the key one is probably the forward area. I mean, with Cavani showing today, whether he stays beyond this season and whether he wants to is another question. I mean, he stepped up and he delivered today, but what he brings to the team with his movement, and when you give him service, he will score goals. Whereas Martial this season, he's been inconsistent. It's just, can he produce those consistent performances from next season? I don't know. So it might be the case United have got to go out for a world-class striker, whether that might be Haaland or Kane, but it's which one Ollie decides if that's the area he's going to go for, which one he wants to get. I mean, Haaland, yes, he's younger than Kane, but Kane knows the Premier League inside out and can do the job. So it'll be an interesting summer. And I mean, as I said earlier, with our home form, if we get that more consistent with the away form we've had this season, then we can. I just want to see us challenge for the title and challenge for other trophies, and it just be. And I hope, we do get the Europa League at the end of the season, because that will just show signs of the team progression. So it's going to be an interesting summer of transfers, whether we make those big signings or not, or Ollie's just given so much money to bring in, say, fringe players, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Yep, he has to be backed, and he will be backed. And and Brown Knights, dead right. He's dead right in saying that. Jeff, you are dead to me. Okay, I'm not even going to show the comment because you can read it if you're on YouTube. Okay, it's not happening. It's not happening. I forgot Mark could do that. It's going to happen, isn't it? But look, okay, I'm going to put this poll up. It's going to upset me, but we'll say Rice, Kane, or Sancho. Okay, which one of them brings us to the next level? Which one brings us to where we need to be? Mark, I'm going to go to you first.
Well, I've said this many times now. Gary, just wanted to say, mate, excellent insight tonight and great debut. But you said about a central defensive midfielder. I think a couple other people as well. Whilst I think that Sancho would be the perfect acquisition on that right-hand side, would create a lot more, would stop Greenwood from having to be shoehorned into that right-wing position. I've said many times that a central defensive midfielder would be our best signing, 100%. And that's because it would, whenever Matic, unfortunately, has lost his legs, but he is our only true defensive midfielder. And when he was on form, a bit like Herrera a couple of years ago when Ollie first came in, it was because Herrera was that anchor, was allowing everyone else. I know we didn't have the same players then, but allowing everyone else to go forward, and our defence was actually very good. Now, what Rice probably, I think Rice would, him or Ndidi or whoever else, doesn't matter what defence.
Ndidi would be great.
Yeah, of course it would, Joe. But whoever that may be, it would give so much more stability to that defence. Our centre back is not our top priority. And whilst I would absolutely love Sancho, we have got Ahmed. Brown now just hit the nail on the head. I saw another comment earlier. People forget about that. We've got him. He's very good, and he will be integrated very slowly and be given that exposure. And, he might well hit the ground running. If he doesn't, he probably will at some stage, and he could be that answer. We do have other possibilities. And also, as well as that defensive frailties that we have or have had, defensive midfield are also better going forward, because if you have a ball playing central defensive midfielder like Rice and DD, someone like that that's assured on the ball, it has a good passing ability, it will be able to come back to my coin phrase and say, well, we can start quickly because we can progress that ball a lot faster. Declan Rice, actually, as an example, I wasn't a massive fan of him last year, but he has grown on me a lot. I've watched him a little bit more this season, and he is very intelligent on the ball. He does seem to think 2 or 3 passes in front, and is actually the pivotal part in pushing the ball forward up to Lingard or whoever that might be. So if we have that, we don't have to worry about someone dropping back like Pogba, Van der Beek, whoever else, or Fred and McTominay, and they can focus on what they need to do, getting forward and seeing the best out of them. So for me, and I will not change my opinion on this, a DM.
Okay, that's fair enough. Not Declan Rice. Stuart is asking this, but this Stuart went, Rice, baby. And then Fred asked, why would you think that? And Stuart didn't answer that. It's just to upset me, Fred, okay? Anytime Stuart O'Hara does anything, it is just to upset me. In fact, when any Stuart does anything, it's just to upset me. But Kai, for yourself, is it Kane, is it Sancho, is it Rice?
Listen, the same way which I learned to love Asian food is the same way you shall learn to love rice, Joe. You will be fine. You'll be okay. It's a steady process. Coming from, I love midfielders so much, and I would love to say the DM is the position I'd go for, but the thing is, I've seen us lose so much of the ball in attacking areas that in my mind I'm thinking to myself, I've also seen Sancho complete the very same type of passes that we leave loose, the passes we don't complete, or the attacks we don't complete because somebody has been loose in possession. Rashford hasn't passed, or he hasn't made the optimum decision in that certain situation. And in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, if Sancho's there, the way that Haaland normally scores is from Sancho, but the way that he releases early, this is something which, if we just added, we are scoring a bucket loads more goals and all of that. And also the reason why I would pick that more than the midfield is because I think the midfield one is tough, because we also don't need someone that's just going to run around. The way we clearly play now, we need someone who is comfortable with the ball as well. So to slow the pace down, because sometimes we make it seem like the whole time we're getting attacked and all we're doing is trying to close down everything and win the ball back. But there's times where we have the ball, the guy needs to be the one that can start the attacks, the tempo, everything in a game which we're dominating as well. So it's much more harder to find the profile of that player. But in someone like Sancho, you already have someone who's doing that 15% which we're missing in the attack, that's Sancho. So I don't know what happens if we add that. So that's my opinion on that one.
That's a good opinion. And I'm going to bring in someone who is in a different time zone. And I'm presuming thought a time over here was a different time over there. the wonderful Nigerian / American and Marylanderin. It's Timmy, everybody.
What's up, bro? My bad. It's
fine.
That one's on me, bro.
No, completely it's on you. Yeah, I wasn't taking any blame for it. Yeah, I was 100% going this is Temmie's fault. But the good thing is, I bet in your mind you're like, I'm going to wrap early. I'm going to get in now. And like you're like 7 minutes early. And even when you popped up there, my first thought was, "Aw." He's trying his best.
So well. I thought I was early, man, and then I see everyone in here. I'm like, oh shit, okay. We're 53 minutes in. All right,
biggest wall ever. He's thought. Stuart's given you a compliment as well, Andrew. He said you're the biggest member of your family. I was quite proud of that one, but Stuart's really going to get it. Tammy, while we have you here anyway, we're discussing signings we need. If you had a choice between Kane, Sancho, or Declan Rice, who would you go for?
I probably have to go Declan Rice. Obviously, he's like the worst of those three players. That's funny. That's a funny comment, bro. He's obviously the worst of those three players, but in terms of need, like we definitely need a DM. You feel me? Like desperately bad. It makes our midfield so much better if we have a player who can break up the play. You know, allow the likes of a Pogba to go forward, allow the likes of Bruno to be a little bit more, maybe drop a little bit deeper because Pogba has more license to go forward. So it just provides more balance. You know what I'm saying? Sancho's probably second place in that, out of those three because he gives us creativity down that right-hand side that we currently don't have. You feel me? It makes AWB better. It makes that whole right-hand attack better. I mean, those are all if any of those three come to our team, you feel me? We become immediately much, much better. You feel me? But that being said, I think in terms of importance, the almost Irish lad, Declan Rice. You know what I'm saying?
You had to say that just to hurt me, didn't you? Almost Irish.
He's the guy, you feel me?
Hey, Joe, can I ask Timmy a question, Joe?
Yes.
Hey, Timmy, do you think that Declan Rice is used to playing in a team which always has the ball? Like, because it's a very different mentality, right?
Go ahead.
And yeah, so we've been always kind of thinking like we can almost transfer a person's position directly into a Manchester United team. You know, we saw it with Morgan Schneiderlin, who was great DM at some stage, and then he kind of. So I mean, I'm just trying to think of what happens to his whole mentality from Declan Rice to just move him into a team where he is the engine, and then,
First, to that point, first of all, I think that he plays the same system we do currently. David Moyes plays a 4-2-3-1. He is the deeper line playmaker out of, him and Souček. Souček gets forward a little bit more, scores more goals. You feel me? I think that, yes, that's a great point that it's going to be a step up, no question. But I think that he's shown in his very short time in the league that he has the credentials to play for a team like United. He's a captain at 22 years old. You feel me? On the ball, he reminds me of Prime Matic was really a great player. I'm not saying he's at that level yet, but in terms of the way he carries the ball forward, the way he picks passes, he always plays the right pass. He can drop deeper into a center back role if necessary. Like if we want to push our fullbacks forward, he can drop into the middle in between our center backs, and pick passes out. So I think he is a fit. I know, yes, the West Ham questions, the step up, is it, they don't have, I think, West Ham does actually have possession. I don't know what their possession stats are, but, when I watch them more often than not, you know what I'm saying? If they're playing a team that's not in the top four, they probably are going to be the team with more possession. So yes, to answer your question, I do think he would be capable of coming to our side, play the system that we play. You can argue if you want to play a 4-2-3-1, if you want to move to a 4-3-3. That's up to Ali, not us, obviously. But yeah, no, I think Declan Rice is definitely a great fit.
And to be fair,
thanks for ruining Joe's night.
No, okay. And to be fair, okay, two of the three players I mentioned, one played for Ireland, one can play for Ireland, and the other one I want is Sancho. So there you go. If you betray Ireland, you can go funk yourself. So, Mark, you have a point to make before I get on to Stuart, I guess, who's next after that.
Yeah, just very quickly. Good to see you, Timmy. You're looking very fresh, bro. You're absolutely
Okay.
spot on,
I
mate.
will point out that Mark has not complimented anyone else on how they looked, but that's fine.
Well, it's
Because we're tired from being here for an hour. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's only because I saw a comment about, oh my God, Timmy's actually got hair, and I assume it's probably because he's had it cut and he's looking fresh. So I just thought I'd throw that in there. Anyway, you're absolutely spot on, Timmy. DM first. I said this earlier. You said a few points which I mentioned too. Now, this is towards Kai, actually. Just very quickly, I don't disagree with what you're saying. I think it is a very close race between the two, actually, from Sancho and a DM, okay? But this isn't really a different team, okay? Post-lockdown, we saw great football, lots of goals. Up until more recently, we've seen lots of goals, not always from strikers. Martial not having the best season. But these players are no different. And I don't feel that putting a right winger in there that might be a bit more creative is going to help them in any way. It will help them, but it's not going to completely change the dynamic again. There is talent there. There is goals there. We see this up until more recently. Oh my God, Timmy's got hair, yeah. Sorry, I was just reading that comment. Up until more recently, honestly, I feel that a defensive midfielder is much better. As I said, when Oli first came in, Herrera was one of the worst things to happen to us, really. When you look at it now, he was phenomenal as that DM. He was a very quiet player, and they always usually are, and everyone was allowed to go forward, and I really feel that that's our biggest thing, really do.
Yeah. Stuart, on to you now. Are you going to continue breaking my heart and saying we need that little bollocks and CDM, or are you going to break up and do a mad formation where you actually want like a corner, forward, right, left, back?
Well, no, unfortunately, I'm going to go with the consensus. I think we do need Rice. And to be brutally honest with you, as much as we need a Sancho-type player, if we haven't got a Cavani-type player up there, it's an irrelevance anyway, because there's absolutely no chance Martial, Rashford or Greenwood are scoring that header. No chance. In fact, they're not even scoring his first either. He was 2 yards making space for Pogba's pass. Those three just haven't got that in the locker yet. We spoke about Greenwood before, and it may well come into that in the next 2-3 years. But right now, no. So I just think a wide player, a Sancho-type player, wouldn't add value to the squad. It wouldn't add value to money. And so that leaves me with CDM and centre forward. So I'm banking on, although I think Cavani's gone, I'm banking on Cavani staying, and you'd have to get in Rice. And I tend to agree pretty much with everything that Temi said, except I would add Rice is very versatile. He's a very good centre half. He's a very good centre midfield player, and he can play as an 8. He can play slightly forward as well. What he lacks is goal scoring, but you can't have everything in life. In a footballer who's no pulse goals, but he can tackle and he gets around the pitch, and we need that. But what we need with our central defensive midfielder is a shield, and all he needs to do is shield our back four. Now, the CDM is there primarily to protect the back four, or actually to protect the two centre halves, along with the goalkeeper. We've got the one kind of part of that foursome sorted already, with Henderson coming in, being very, very commanding. And that's why you're seeing a better Lindelof, and that's why you're seeing a better Maguire, because he breeds and oozes confidence for your two centre halves. So when you put a central midfielder in front, you've got a quad, a spine, a block, and that's what we desperately need. And so I do think that Rice would fit our style of play. I think he's young, he's vibrant, and I think he's an Ollie-type player. Incidentally, though, and I'm going to be a little bit controversial here, if Fred tucked in his skirt a little bit and realised what his position and his job on the field was, he would be quite a good holding player because he's very tenacious. And a good holding midfield player has got to knock it off 2 or 3 yards at any one time. He doesn't need to be legging up the left wing or legging up the right wing. And so if Fred actually concentrated on what his main role is in his game, he would add a solution today, and then you could play my favourite formation of Pogba.
Boo! There we go. Yeah. But like, if Fred changed the way he played, he wouldn't have the outstanding 1 goal in every 700 games.
Well,
you have to take that into account.
There is
Yo,
that,
Joe.
but
yeah. What, Kai? I'm afraid.
Are you surprised? Are you surprised that Stu chose Rice? I mean, Rice and Stu is a great combination.
Oh, for
he's
love
got
of
it.
God. I thought we were past that. I thought we were past, but that was great, Kai. That was great. I'm going to slightly change my question and vomit after that question, what Kai just said too. But basically, can we get anyone else but Rice? Ben, I'm going to come to you first on this. CDM seems to be where everyone's going. In that position, is Rice our best answer? Would you look at Ndidi? Would you look at literally anyone else? Or is it that bastard? Where are you? There you are.
It'll probably end up being that bastard for you, mate. Rice is probably the front runner. Indeed, he's a good shout from Leicester. Another one that probably doesn't get talked about enough, can play defensive midfield, is Ruben Neves from Wolverhampton Wanderers, but I don't know whether United be a step too far up for him, but still a young lad. I think he's only 24, 25, which shocked me. I thought he was a bit older.
22, 23.
There you go. No, well, he's younger than what I thought then, which shocked me a little bit. So you could possibly give him a bit of a shout. You know, it all depends on how much money we're going to spend in the summer. Though I hate harping on about this. I must be a doom and gloom merchant. But Declan Rice, I think West Ham are going to put a fucking huge, humongous fucking wedge on top of his head going, he's going to be 100 million. He's not even worth 100 million, mate. 50, 60 mil max, plus probably what we might get with a Lingard if any possible sort of deals if Lingard goes the other way. But my main worry about Declan Rice is that West Ham are going to fucking try and, you know, get as much top dollar as they can for him, basically. You know, I've seen quotes of 100 odd million. I don't think the guy's worth 100 million, mate. You know what I mean? Have we even got that in our kitty? I think someone said earlier on with these quotes about 70 million that Solskjaer's got to spend. So maybe we've got to be a bit smart, you know, and you're asking for other options. Ruben Neves, though, mate, you know, I think there's a guy that can score some cracking goals as well. Someone said that Declan Rice couldn't score. I'm just trying to vary it up a little bit. I'm not saying that he's the absolute nailed-on alternative. Indeed, he's another great shout, but I think, again, Leicester will want top sort of money for him. I'm just thinking with the way that Wolves are sort of not been at their best this season, they might want to, maybe look to offload maybe a couple. So
yeah. Maybe,
I don't know. Ruben Evans is another one. So you asked me for another shout there. I just thought maybe
Ruben Evans is a good shout, yeah. Gary, for yourself, is there anyone else outside of the loyalty-stricken Declan Rice?
I have two.
Lovely.
Yeah, one guy hasn't really been playing a lot this season in Spain. Saul Niguez from Atletico. But if you want to go from some person right out of left field, I would have to say Tion Koopmeiners, the captain for AZ Alkmaar. If you want to go that route. But the consensus is probably going to be Declan Rice. But you can go several ways. I mean, indeed, he's going to cost a fortune. Leicester's not going to part with him for anything less. It's going to cost more than when we got Harry Maguire, definitely. But for me, just to change it up a bit, I'd say Saul Niguez and Tion Koopmeiners.
Wow, they are right out of left field since I have never heard of 50% of them. we got a proper football hipster over here. You watch more than Man United. Wow. Okay, Gary, really putting it up to everyone here. Jeff, for yourself, are you going to go down the same route or pick someone that people can spell?
I said this before. Maybe we can go get a good deal with Inter for Brozovic. He's a decent player.
Yes.
He's strong. He can distribute the ball pretty well. So yeah, if we're gonna just get out of the box, out of the Premier League. I'd go with Brozovic. And then Brown Knight even mentioned that maybe Keshi, but Keshi's more of a box-to-box type of player. But yeah, those two options wouldn't be too bad if we got them.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, I agree with Brozovic. Sorry, I've mentioned Brozovic before, and I think he's quality. He'll score 6 to 8 a season as well for us. So yeah, it'd be great shout. Good shout, Jeff. I'm glad I gave you that one.
for free and all. Andrew,
No,
for yourself. Oh yeah. Don't say Declan Rice. Who do you want at CDM?
I'd go with Indeed. I mean, I'm just saying, looking at the stats for Rice compared against our own midfielders, I just think our midfielders are slightly better than Declan Rice. So, I mean, if you look at in terms of like the goals scored, McTominay and Pogba are ahead of Rice. I mean, in terms of chances created, Pogba, Fred, and McTominay are ahead of him, and even on the passes completed, Declan Rice is like at the bottom of the list of our midfielders. So, if he was to improve our midfield, I would say I would go with Wilfred Indeed. He's somebody that can just control the whole midfield, so can link that the defence and the midfield and the attack together. But I'd say the key area for me would be the forward position. If Cavani was to leave, then Harry Kane would be the ideal person to bring in. So the goals that have been scored by Spurs this season, he's been involved in about 30 of them with 17 goals and 13 assists. So he's contributed to about 60% of their goals. If he was to come in, and with the service from Pogba, Fernandes, Greenwood and Rashford to him, he could just be hitting the 30-goal mark with if he was to come in with us and fire us to potential trophies. So we'll just have to see who we get in the summer.
Yeah, Andrew, I do love your buzzwords of potential trophies. It is my favourite part of every time you speak. And Jane, to see us out, since you are a Nottingham Forest fan, no one has mentioned James Garner yet. Has one of your eyes been on him since the other eye is on Derby? And do you think there's any chance of promotion from him from within?
I think it'd be quite silly to promote him to the first team straight away. I think if there's talk of a loan move to Brighton, which would fit him to a T, if he can play under a manager with a style and play for a team that are very chance heavy, very possession heavy, I think that would be perfect for him. But I like the shout earlier of the Coop Miners. The difficult thing would be whether he's defensively resilient enough, because he scored a lot of goals this season from midfield, which would probably, it's not a bad thing by any means, but you've got to question whether he's going to be that solid defensive base. But in an ideal world, you get Camavinga in from Rennes, because 18 years of age, he's going to take the world by storm, and people know that already. But I really like the shout of Ruben Neves. There was rumours earlier this week that he could be available for £30 million, which for a player of his calibre and at his age, I think is an absolute steal. If we can keep Pogba and get Neves in the team as well, I think that's a hell of a midfield. But again, it goes back to that question whether they'd have enough defensive cover in there. It's still a question, but I think we'd have that much possession every game that you wouldn't have to worry about them scoring, because they couldn't get the ball off us. So yeah, I do really realistically as well, given what our budget's going to be, I really like the shot of Ruben Neves.
Cool, that's fair. Guys, that's been our show. Before we go on, give Temi, since he arrived early, 53 minutes late, so you missed all the chat of the actual game. Give us your thoughts on what you're most happiest about the 3-1 victory today against Spurs. See us out on a high note, and where this game will take us into the next one.
Yeah, I'm really proud of the resiliency. I think the first half was definitely it could have been very easy to kind of down tools after that decision that the ref made. You feel me? But I think that the guys really bounced back in that second half. I think the football was actually entertaining to me. Like I was very, very pleased with the way we played. I thought Pogba was excellent. I thought Fred in the second half was really, really good. It was good to see Cavani get back on the score sheet. You feel me? Very excited about that, especially with Martial being hurt. We really need Cavani to kind of, get those type of chances. So a lot of positives to take away from this game. Hopefully we can replicate that against Granada, because I don't want I really don't want to be bored watching that go down.
Yeah.
I mean, like I want to be able to like keep my eyes open. You know what I'm saying? So I'm hoping that we can take the performance in the second half and kind of replicate. I want to like, I know we're up 2-0 in that on aggregate against Granada, but I want to see us literally like crush them. Like that would be amazing. I think that would be a sign that okay, that second half was a fluke. It was actually something that we can build on. Like I want to see us like put 4 past them. Like I don't think do I think that's going to happen? No, but I think that would be a sign that okay, the second half was more was actual progress into the way we're playing football for 90 minutes.
Yeah. And what was your favorite goal today?
Ooh, I would have to say Mason's goal because I think what Pogba did before that, you know what I'm saying, the bit of skill to get the ball to Mason was absolutely ridiculous. And then Mason with his classic little step overs that actually worked this time. And it was a great finish. Great finish. I was happy to see him get on the score sheet. What is that? How many goals?
Third Premier League goal this season.
Yeah. So not much. I know he's not scored a ton of goals, but I think he's improved as a footballer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I think a lot of people when they judge people by only scoring goals and getting assists. But I think as an actual footballer, you know what I'm saying? I think he's improved a lot.
That cross though.
Yeah, the cross. Oh my goodness, the cross. He's not doing that. He's not doing that last season. You feel me? So yes, Mason Greenwood not getting the goals, but he is a much improved footballer. That's undeniable.
Absolutely. And hey, Jarvis, and don't worry that you're late. Yourself and Temmie must have got the same car or something like that. It's fine. But yeah, guys, that's been our show tonight. We had a full wall of Reds this evening, and thank you all for joining in, and thank you for everyone in the comments. Our next game is Thursday night, is it? Yeah, against Granada. Please join us for that. Let's hope it's not an interesting game. I know Temmie wants us to do loads of stuff. I'm more than happy with like a 1-0 victory with the kids playing with I want 5-0. That's what Temmie's saying. I want loads of goals, all from Man United. I would like loads of that, but I would prefer a nice dull game where no one gets injured and no one, nothing happens.
That's also
yeah. I just realized I'm top of the Off United Football Premier League football what's that? FPL
Fantasy Premier League.
Fantasy. I'm not even in that.
Neither am I.
Bastards.
I didn't know there was a thing.
Yeah. Stewart, you just started a revolt. Is it just you that's in it? Maybe that's why you're top. But anyway, we've loads of stuff during the week while the Reds I'm sure will be back one night, and we will have the crack then. So until then, have a lovely evening and have a great week. And we're 3 points ahead, like I always said, and we're coming for the title. 21-21 is maybe.